Welcome everybody. My name is Victoria Bech. I work at FENS as the communication assistant, but today my role is going to be moderating this 30-minute session, and we are going to talk about the exchange grants, the NANS exchange grants. But before we start, I need to announce that we are recording this session, so you are going to be able to watch it again, and we will upload it in our the FENS resources section on the website and also in our YouTube channel. So now I'm going to introduce our wonderful panelists. We have here Dr. Gerd. He's a FENS member of the FENS Committee of Higher Education and Training, also a Master's and PhD program coordinator at Utrecht University, which are part of the NANS program. And also two wonderful speakers also, Mikey Rogala, who was awarded with a NANS exchange grant in 2019, and Lucas Brown, who was also awarded with a NANS exchange grant in 2020. So this is going to be a short presentation. Our speakers will do a presentation to give you the most important facts about the exchange grants, and then we will jump to the Q&A question section. So if you have any questions, please, you can write them in the Q&A button, which is located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Please, when you have a question, please, state your name if it's not in your username. Also, state your country of residency. And if it's a direct question to one of our panelists, please write the name so I can address the question directly to them. And I absolutely encourage you to ask your questions directly also to the panelists. We are going to unmute the microphones on the Q&A section. So you can use, so if you have a question, you can use the raise hand function. And when it's the time, I will unmute your microphone, and then you can ask directly your questions to our panelists. And now, without further delay, Gerd, the virtual floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction so far. So, as was mentioned, my name is Geert Raamakers. I am an associate professor here at Utrecht University at the Department of Translational Neuroscience, University Medical Center. But I'm talking to you as a member of the FENS Committee of Higher Education and Training. And what I'm going to present to you is an overview of the funding opportunities this committee has. So what we are, the Network of European Neuroscience Schools, is a gathering of about 200 programs, which are covering about 27 European countries. And in these programs, there are master programs, PhD programs, and doctoral degree in neuroscience programs. Of interest for students who are enrolled in a NANS school is that you can apply for exchange grants for training stays, which we're going to talk about today. There is a NANS Graduate Fair and the Best Poster Award at the FENS Forum. So for this, we have we select 10 NANS students which receive the WAVE registration form. And these students can present their poster at the NANS fair at the FENS. And one master student and one PhD student get a personal prize of €1,000. We also have availability of slots in national courses. So 20 FENS and IBRO PERC stipends of each €750 are available for a master or a PhD student to attend 6 selected courses which are organized by NANS schools. So what about the travel grants that we give? So the applicants are expected to spend a period of 1 to 3 months in another NANS lab of their choice in a different European country, and the purpose of that stay should be a methodological training. In total, the exchange grants cover the travel and accommodation cost, and the maximum amount you can apply for is €3,000. And there are 2 application deadlines. That is every year, April 15 and October 15 at midnight in Brussels time. And the results of the applications are communicated in a maximum of 2 weeks following the application deadline. And the awarded grant is provided following the training stay. And it's based on the submitted report after your training stay has finished. And after your training stay, you will become a NANS student alumni, of which 2 are present here. And your report and stay is listed on the NANS student alumni directory. And there you can also find previous stay, so maybe you can use that for inspiration. So a question you might have is, am I eligible to apply for a NANS exchange grant? To be eligible, you have to be a master or PhD student enrolled in a NANS school program. And you have to be a member of a FANS society. You can check whether your school is a member of the NANS society is to have a look at the NANS program directory, whether your school is a program, is enlisted as a program. And the NANS program directory, you can find that on the website, and you can, on the right-hand side of the website, you can scroll to the country you are in, and then you can check all the schools that in your country which are a NANS school. And if your school is in there, you're safe. And if not, if your school is not a member, then you can ask your coordinator to join the NANS program via an online request form, which can also be found on the website. And it's very simple, and there is no membership fee, and there are numerous benefits for the school to be enrolled as a NANS program. If you're not a member of a FANS society, you can join one of the 44 national and single discipline societies of FANS and take advantage of FANS benefits. And many of these national societies have a free registration, so that doesn't cost any money. So what are the benefits for my school to be a member of the NANS program? So first of all, it's very easy to become a NANS member. You are part of the European Neuroscience Training Community. You get support for NANS slots, exchange grants, and best practices, and you can develop your program. So by exchanging good practices between programs, by learning from other programs, you can increase your visibility to take part at the FANS forum, at our NANS event there. So there are many benefits for a school and program to be part of the NANS community. So we have NANS clusters, which increase the cooperation between school, which have financial support. So if you want to develop a course, we can, there is financial support for that. And you can bring neuroscience training and higher education to the next level. So it would be very smart to become a member of the NANS society. Some facts and figures about the NANS exchange grants. Here's an overview of all NANS exchange grants between the period of 2007 and June of this year. In total, there were 244 applications, so that's not very much if you make the calculations per year. Of these 244, 162 were PhD applications, and 82 were applications done by master students. And of these applications, 116 were awarded. So that's about a 50% chance. And that is equal for PhD applications and master student applications. And a 50% chance is a very high chance if you look at the success rate of applications. So the success rate is, as I mentioned, about 50%. That is again exemplified here. So out of the total amount of PhD applications, 77 were awarded and 85 were not. And for the master students, that were 39% were awarded and 43 were not. So if you're ready to prepare your application for a NANS exchange grant, please go to the NANS page and read the tips for submission, and you can start your application. If you have any remaining questions while you're filling in the form, please contact the NANS at nans@fans.org. So this about the NANS grant. I would also like to give you an overview of other things that that we support. So for instance, we give financial support to attend 2 biannual schools. We support the NCOTS. I will explain all these things in more detail in the next slides. The travel grants to other meetings, and we provide support to attend Cajal Advanced Neuroscience training programs. So the biannual schools, we have, for instance, the winter schools and the summer schools. The winter school of this year will be on multi-scale approaches to probe psychiatric disorders. It will be in Obergurgl in Austria. So if you like skiing and like to combine it with some nice neuroscience, that would be the place to go. And the summer school will be in Italy next year in May, and that will be on artificial and neural computations for sensory perception. So, and we provide financial support to attend these schools. We also support the ENCODS, that's the European Neuroscience Conference for Doctoral Students. The meeting of this year, that is a yearly meeting, and the meeting of this year was an online meeting that has finished last month. And next year, the meeting will hopefully be in person at preceding the FANS meeting in Paris. So from 9 till 10 in July 2022, this meeting will take place, and it is organized by master and PhD students and for master and PhD students. So it has a scientific program, but it also covers some personal development and career choices support. We also provide travel grants. There are travel grants to go to the Japanese Neurosociety or the Chinese Neurosociety to go to meetings organized by these societies. We have grants and stipends for going to the FANS Forum and the FANS regional meetings. And the registration for the FANS Forum in Paris opens in December of this year. So if you are really interested, go there and you can apply for a travel grant. There are 200 grants available. Then we also provide support to attend the CAGAL training courses, advanced neuroscience training courses, which are intense courses, 2 to 3 weeks, hands-on. So it's not only lectures, but you also do things. You do experiments. You make your own amplifiers, and you record signals, and it's an interactive and engaging atmosphere. You are locked up with a group of fellow students for this period, and you work intensely every day, and you do experiments within the frame of a short scientific project. And that's been done in 2 European facilities, one in Bordeaux and one in Lisbon in Portugal. Beautiful sites and a very high quality of research and sciences there. And there are also, we fund the opportunity to go to the BRAIN conference. We have 15 stipends to attend the BRAIN conferences. And there are 2 of them organized each year in Copenhagen, in Rundstedsgaard. And this year there will be a meeting on RNA mechanisms and brain disease, which will be in October. You can apply for that meeting now. And there is an establishment and maintenance of brain cells meeting, which will be in April next year, and registration is not open for that yet. So that has all been done by the Committee of Higher Education and Training of FANS. That's where I'm part of. So what we are doing is we oversee the higher education and training activities so that FANS can offer a balanced and multidisciplinary state-of-the-art training portfolio for early career neuroscientists. And we also provide input and topic suggestions for the schools and the BRAIN conferences. Finally, who are we? We are a committee which consists of 7 members. Daniel, Anya, Michaela Morelli, José Luis, me, and Anna Maria. We are the members, and we are chaired by Patricia Caspar from Paris in France. And if you want to contact CHAT, if you have any questions, please send an email to chat@fans.org. And with this, I would like to end my presentation and give the floor back.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation. I think now we continue with you, Mikey.
So, share screen. I'm having some problems here. Can you see that? Okay,
Yes.
great. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, I was having some problems with my computer. So my name is Maike Rogalla, and today I'm speaking to you as a recipient of one of the NENS exchange grants. And I had the honor to spend a time period of 4 weeks in Salamanca in summer 2019. So I did my PhD at the Karl von Ossietzky University in Oldenburg at the Department of Neuroscience. And I was working in the group of Jannis Hildebrand entitled Auditory Neuroscience. And my projects were about auditory attention, some anatomical alterations during age-related hearing loss. And the main project was the development and the evaluation of an optogenetic auditory midbrain implant. And I started my PhD in December 2016, and I graduated last year in September. And all these projects, I was using methods of behavioral neuroscience, histology, and optogenetics. But after a certain time period, I experienced that being trained in electrophysiology would be something that would be not only useful for my projects, but also useful for my career. So I went to the FENS Forum in Berlin in 2018, and there I learned from the opportunity to apply for such a NENS exchange grant. And then by the end of August, I decided that I will submit an application. And then I was looking for a host lab that could train the method that I would like to be trained in. And in September, I contacted the host lab and they immediately replied. So a few days later, I had a positive response that they were able to host me and also willing to host me. And then I started writing on the grant proposal, which I submitted on the 14th of October. So approximately 1 month later. And on the 23rd of October, I received an email from the chat that they accepted my application. And in June 2019, I was traveling from Oldenburg, so the north of Germany, to Salamanca in Spain. So I did my project at the University of Salamanca, as I already said. I'm not able to pronounce this correctly since my Spanish is not so good. So it's the Neuroscience Institute in Castilla y León. And I was a part of the CANE lab, so the Center of Auditory Neuroscience, which was the lab of, or which is still the lab of Professor Dr. Manuel Sanchez Malmierca. And the project which I conducted there was entitled Deviance Detection and Encoding of Acoustic Regularity in the Auditory Midbrain. And I was trained in performing single unit recordings in anesthetized rats. For that, I used an auditory oddball paradigm. I don't need to go into detail here, but maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. And I was also interested in how the predictability of auditory events is coded in the central auditory system. And I stayed in Salamanca for 4 weeks in total. So I would like to tell you something on how the whole NENS exchange grant, or the period that I stayed in Salamanca, contributed to my career and my research. So for the research, I definitely learned new skills. So I was trained in performing single unit recordings, and I was also trained in the analysis of these. But also I acquired a lot of scientific knowledge, and all of my projects, so all 3 of them, somehow benefited from this experience. For example, one project was about auditory attention, and the knowledge that I acquired about auditory predictability of auditory events was highly helpful for the final write-up of this project. And so my career also benefited from that. So I was able to perform a lot of networking. First of all, I had the opportunity to participate in a summer school, which was hosted during that time. So I was really lucky. And it was hosted from the UConn, so the University of Connecticut, and the Johns Hopkins University, which was conducted in Salamanca, and there were international speakers from all over the world that were giving interesting talks. And that was an awesome opportunity to do some networking, as well as with the members of the Institute itself, which was also highly helpful. And it also provided me some opportunities. So for example, the PI of the group where I was at was also really supportive during my graduation and also during my writing process of my own papers. So he read them and gave me some feedback on them. And I have been offered a postdoc position in this lab as well. So, but what I would also like to mention is that the NENS exchange grants also contribute somehow to your personality development, and due to several reasons. So the first thing is that you will make a lot of friends probably when you're going abroad and when you're going somewhere else, which is really interesting and really, really something that I was so happy about, to meet these people. And I'm still in contact with them, although I left Salamanca in June 2019. And some of them are still in science, and we also have like science discussions repetitively, and we also meet each other when it's not COVID. And you also need to adapt to novel scientific environments, and you also need to adapt to the novel lab environment. So, which means that it is really interesting to see if you can maybe get along in your own home lab, but you might ask yourself the question, am I able to also be successful in another lab? So this is something that you can have a lot of experience from. And you also need to adapt to the novel culture and the country itself, and probably also the language, which was really interesting and also had a high impact on my development. And most important for me, the NENS exchange grants helped me to answer some big questions for me. So for example, I was asking myself whether I would like to continue my career in science and whether I would like to pursue a postdoc. And this was really, really helpful to answer these questions. And obviously, yes, I am a postdoc now. And I did not accept the offer from Salamanca because I received a better one from the Kresge Hearing Research Institute at the Apostolides Lab, where I'm now a postdoc since last month. Yeah, and you can contact me if you have any questions, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. And now we jump with you, Lucas.
Hello. So I'll just talk like for a minute and 30 seconds. So we have lots of time for questions. I guess overall my experience is very similar to the one of Maike. But I think there's maybe a few questions that I can answer because I come from a different perspective of neuroscience. So I'm a theoretician, and I did the exchange also during my master's. So yeah, I have a slightly different perspective on the whole exchange experience than Maike. So I did my master's in Berlin at the Bernstein Center for Computational Neuroscience, and I'm interested in the intersection of machine learning and neuroscience. And particularly during my master's, I was studying how we maybe can apply the backpropagation algorithm, which is the backbone of many recent machine learning algorithms, to spiking neuron models. And so I found a very interesting line of work, which was supervised by Tim Vogels at the University of Oxford. And then I heard about the exchange grant and was like, I want to do something in that direction. And I would love to learn about this from the experts. And so I applied successfully. And then I just really benefited from having the people that developed the theory around me and directly learn from them how to derive the equations, how to use them, how to implement them in code. Obviously, everything went a little different than planned because I started in February last year. So when I arrived, there was like the first rumors of COVID in China. And then, yeah, basically in week 3, we went into full lockdown. So I started working from home, which was possible. I mean, from my home in Oxford. Because it was theoretic work, and we continued collaborating, and I actually wrote with Tim Vogels then my thesis, and also we now have just submitted the work to the Conference of Neural Information Processing. I mean, fingers crossed that this will be accepted, And on the networking perspective, during my time in Oxford, I also met my now PhD supervisor, Andrew Sachs. So just by changing the scene, having talks at a different university, meeting people, yeah, it can really change your perspective on what you want to do and how, with whom you would like to do it. And then since all this kind of sounds like a success story, and I think it's always important to also emphasize the things that go wrong, I had to apply twice to get the NENS exchange grant. So if you are a theoretician, still apply, they still like you, they still will give you a grant, and maybe you need two tries, especially when you're in the very beginning of your master's. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful presentation. Now we are going to jump to the questions. We have already one brave attendee who is going to ask a direct question to Professor Dr. Gerd. I apologize if I mispronounce any names. I think it's Raul Gav. Now I think you are permitted to talk.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. It was a very nice presentation. I really liked it. I wrote the question there. If you can see, it's just two quick questions. First, I saw in the list that, so I'm Rahul Gaurav from Sorbonne University, and I'm finalizing my PhD very soon in a few months. So I saw my university, Sorbonne, is in the list of the NENS doctoral list schools. Okay, but I would like to do exchange with our collaborator in UCL UK, and I could not find them in the list. So are such collaborations like allowed? Is it worth applying in these situations? This is my first question. Second, I saw the deadline is in October. So it is possible that by the time I'll be done with my PhD, or maybe in the last weeks or months of the PhD. So will it be considered like a non-eligible candidate or something like that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raul. A very good question, two good questions. And actually, yeah, the answer to both of your questions is a little bit negative, because if your host institution is not member of the NENS, then this will not work out. So one thing that could be done is ask the host institution to or the receiving institution to become a member of NENS, and the exchange should be done during your PhD, preferably. So probably you will not be eligible for this. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Say something to that as well. I just quickly checked it on the website. There are several master and PhD programs from the University College London that are in the NENS program.
Okay.
So maybe I would contact your PI or your, I don't know, the lab that you're going to, maybe they know something more. Did you talk to them already?
Okay. Okay.
There are several.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Wonderful. Now we continue with the questions. We have one from Elahe that I think it's a question for you, Gerd, and maybe also Mikey can give another perspective. How long after applying for the grant can we start the training? Can we only apply for another NENS schools for the trainings?
Yes, you can only apply for other NENS schools to go to, and the start of the training should be, I think, but I'm not fully sure, but I think it should be within 6 months after the grant has been granted. So
for me, I don't know how it, maybe it has changed, but for me it was 1 year. So
1 year, okay, so then it is 1 year. Yeah,
so I received the grant in October, November 2018, and then I went to Salamanca in June 2019. So within a year it should be completed, I think.
Okay, yeah. Does that answer your question, Elahe?
Wonderful. In case there is anything, we can always come back. We have another question from Salome. This is going to be for you, Lucas, and Gerd, I think also you can give us your perspective. She's taking her master's degree in the Kavli Institute, and after her master's degree, she would like to learn new methods in different labs to make a decision about which PhD position to pursue. At this time, she will be no longer an official student at the university anymore, since she will be already graduated. But is she still eligible for a grant if she's between master's and PhD?
Again, I think I have to be. I have to give a negative answer, because you have to be enrolled in a master or a PhD program to be eligible for this type of grant. So if you have graduated and you are in between a master and a PhD, then you are not enrolled in one of the programs. And so I'm sorry, Salome, that doesn't work out, at least not for this type of grant. So either you postpone your master graduation for a few months to still be enrolled in the master program, and then it would be very well possible.
So I don't know how it is at the University of Trondheim, but in Germany, very often you have the option to just take a semester break or like pause your studies for several months, so you don't have to pay your fees. Maybe that's an option to kind of delay your graduation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We have another question now, another brave one. It's going to be direct. Vishnu Kannan. Okay, we cannot hear you, but you are allowed to talk now. So it's you unmute your microphone.
Am I audible?
Yes, now, perfect.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Vishnu Kannan. I did my PhD in neuroscience from UMCG, University Medical Center Groningen, under the guidance of Dr. Eric Bodecker. I got graduated in the year of 2014. So due to some family issues, I came back to India. I came back to India and I continued my postdoctoral work in the neuroscience itself in Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learnings. And recently I got published my papers in the scientific report. So I want to know, am I eligible to apply for the grant from India?
Dear Vishnu, first of all, if you are an Indian citizen and you are enrolled as a master student or a PhD student in a European
sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So okay. I am in a research field itself. I completed my PhD from Netherlands, from UMCG.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I did,
I understand. But if you are, and then again, the answer is, if you are not enrolled in a master or PhD program, you are not eligible for this type of grant. So you should be enrolled in a master or PhD program, which is part of the NENS program.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sir, so is it any possibilities? Can you tell, is it any possibilities being there? Or because since it is an exchange grant, is it possible to exchange from within the countries? I mean, from India and from outside? Because the term itself mentioned about the exchange grant. So PAs, let us say, if I am a PA, is it possible to work it out like that?
Yeah, the term exchange grant implies that it is intended for master or PhD students from one European country to go to another European country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you for your answer, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Wonderful. Then we, Eugenio Graceffo. Now we are going to unmute you. Yes, now you are allowed to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, hi. So thank you for the presentation. I have a very quick question. Do you have any recommendation on how to look attractive to the hosting lab? Because I mean, at the end of the day, like we would spend a month or 3 months in a hosting lab and they would like pay, you know, like for, especially if you're doing some experiments, they're paying for the material. What would be your recommendation on that? Like, what would be your contribution to the hosting lab?
I think Micah or Lucas can answer that best.
I don't know if Lucas, you theoretical guys, if you have that many costs to pay in the labs. So your question is, just let me repeat that you would like to know whether project material can be funded as well, right?
No, my question is more like, I know that they won't be funded, so I know that the hosting lab is going to take care of that. And my question is like, do you have any, like suggestions on how to present yourself in order to say, look, my contribution to you would be, I don't know, this, and that. And I'm not just here to like, run the experiment and just have a nice 1 month somewhere in Europe.
Okay, so what my experience is that you should write an email that is quite short, that's not too long, because some PIs might be really busy, and we know that rumors, maybe Gerd can say something to that PIs usually just read the first few sentences of an email. So I would make really clear what you want, and I also would like to, I would also recommend that you like present yourself with like 1 or 2 sentences. And it also helps to provide a contact information from a referee, maybe your PI in the country where you're at right now. That would help, I would say. And then when the first contact has been made, then maybe some more questions will come up.
Yeah, I'm sure you can emphasize what you will bring in the lab. I know the feeling. It's always like you're kind of asking for something, but especially when you will learn a new method, you maybe know methods that they don't know. So maybe you can say, hey, I'm studying this. I'm interested in what you're doing, and see, I maybe can teach this or that, or yeah, maybe we can start collaborations, or this person from my university already. And I think if you emphasize it like this, I hope you're lucky then.
All right, thank you very much.
Wonderful. And then we have another question from Susanne Dick, and this is a more general question, but I think Mikey, Lucas, you are going to give us a much better input. Her question is, how did you go about to find a suitable host lab for the exchange?
Mikey, you want to start? You're still muted.
Mikey, you're still muted.
Yeah, so and my computer's doing it. So can you repeat that, please?
So how did you go about to find a suitable host lab for the exchange?
Mm-hmm. First of all, I made clear what kind of method I would like to learn. Then I went out to research some PIs or groups that are applying this technique. And I also talked with my PI about that. So with my PhD supervisor, I talked with him a lot about where I could potentially get high quality training. Yeah, so that is what I did. And yeah, I also I looked at the map. That's the first thing what I did. So I looked at the map that is provided on the NENS website, and then yeah, so that's a combination of all those things, right? Look, is the method there available? Is the material available? Is this a lab where you could think that you would, like to do your training in, and then check if it's available, like if it's part of the NENS exchange. So at the NENS network, yeah.
For me, the process was a little bit reversed. So I heard about this method and I wanted to learn it. Always, I was teaching it to myself, like by just reading the theoretical papers. And then only then I heard about the exchange grant. And then I figured out, oh, they're part of it. And then I thought, okay, I want to apply and like learn it from them firsthand. And at least for theoreticians, I think very often it can work. There's like several groups that work on a theoretical question. So I guess if you cross-check the references, then you maybe find a research group that works on the topic that you would like to learn, which is part of the network, exchange network.
Thank you so much. We are running a little bit out of time. We have time for 2 more questions, but don't worry, we are going to list all your questions that we have here in the Q&A, and then we are going to publish them in the website with their associate responses. So don't worry, keep asking questions and you will receive your answer. So now we have one from Katarzyna. She's asking, maybe Gerd, this is a really good question for you. How do you define a successful application? What do you pay most attention in the applications?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, what Katarzyna is asking is, how are we judging the applications? So when the application comes in, we look at the applicant, so the CV of the applicant. We look at the host institution. We look at the receiving institution, and we look at the description of the scientific work that is being proposed. And all these four things are graded by several members of the chat committee. And based on that grading, there is a listing made, and we select the best ones. And you also should provide financial support, or how much money you would need, and where you will use the money for. So for housing, for traveling, and so on. So the content is the most important part.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Maybe we have another for final question. This is a general one. And what would you the best tips for a successful application? Then, since we have here both perspective, what's something that struck you to you to say this must be in my application?
I would like to give the floor first to Lucas and Maaike.
I guess it was a little difficult to judge from this side, but I think what was very important is that so I applied once unsuccessful and once very successful. And I think the second time I was successful. And I think the second time my proposal was just a lot more refined. So I had talked to Tim several times about how exactly we want to spend the time. And also his letter was then a lot more refined as well. So you need a letter both from your host institution as well as from your receiving institution. So really make sure to talk to the person that you want to work with, so that your application and their letter will go hand in hand, and it will be clear that during this time that you will have together, you'll be successful in learning something.
Maaike, you have any tips?
Yeah, so I think that exchanging ideas with the host lab is quite helpful there, and have some discussions. And I think the letter of motivation is also something that has a strong impact, right? To get that clear, what is your motivation and why you want to do that. And just, yeah, I want to learn a method is obviously probably not enough. So yeah, I think that this is quite important, and I'm not sure how to judge it from my perspective. Yeah, it's difficult, but I think that you have a red thread, that it makes sense that you want to learn this method, that it's clearly written, and clearly stated what you want to learn and how it integrates into your own projects, maybe, or into your own career profile.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Due to time limitations, we cannot continue answering questions, but don't worry. As I said, we are going to create a list with all your questions and publish them on the webinar website with the associated answer. Also, this session has been recorded, so in the following days you are going to be able to watch it again on the resources section on the FENS website, and also in our YouTube channel. So also, if you want to subscribe there, and then turn out the notifications so you will know when we upload new content. Again, thank you so much to our panelists for answering our questions, and we will be able to also to download their presentations, so you are going to have access to all the important facts that they share here. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.